Okay, so we've done our screening, and let's just say we found some problems that warranted further investigation into certain cranial nerves. So what that would look like for cranial nerve testing, it's similar for cranial nerve 1, olfactory, which would be I'd have the patient close his eyes and close one nostril, and I would choose a different non-noxious stimuli, so alcohol swab, peppermint, on both sides to see if he can smell it. And sometimes I might not put anything there, like I am right now, and he wouldn't smell anything. Next, we would do ocular or optic nerve, which is cranial nerve 2. And so how I would do that is I would look at the light accommodation. And so if I was testing this eye right here, I see pupillary constriction, okay? And I'm able to also test the contralateral eye that I wasn't testing, okay?
Yeah, okay.
I was able to test oculomotor on the contralateral side to see if there was also a pupillary restriction. Another way we can test CN2 is visual fields. So that would start with, I want you to look straight at me. I have these two fingers. I want you to tell me when you can see them. And you can come at them vertically or horizontally. I'm going to start vertically. So tell me when you can see my fingers.
No.
Okay? And then you could start from the middle. So tell me when you can't see my fingers anymore.
No.
Okay. And you want to make it a kind of an arcing motion. You don't want to just go to the side so that you can get the full effect of that visual field. Same thing, vertically. Tell me when you can look straight at me, and tell me when you can see my fingers.
No.
Okay? Tell me when you can't see my fingers anymore and look straight at me.
No.
Okay. Same thing. Tell me when you can see my fingers.
No.
Tell me when you can't see my fingers.
No.
Okay, good. And we would do the same thing from the other side, going back and forth. The next part we can test is confrontation, which is looking at the 4 quadrants of one eye. So if I cover my right eye, I want my patient to cover his left eye. Actually, for the sake of this video, let's switch sides. Okay. I'm going to hold up a number in all 4 quadrants, and he's going to look straight at me and tell me what numbers I'm holding up. Okay.
4, 2, 2, 1.
All right. Good. And he would look straight at me the entire time and not follow my hands. I should have explained that better. But anyways, the final part of cranial nerve 2 is near and far-sighted acuity. So you would take some of those letter and number lines that you see at the doctor's office that are big, and then they get small, and you would test it at 3 feet for near and then 20 feet for far. Next, we move into a little bit of combination and testing for cranial nerve 3, cranial nerve 4, and cranial nerve 6, which is our oculomotor, trochlear, and abducent. So one that you can get cranial nerve 3 in is called convergence. Look at my finger. I'm going to bring it to you. Tell me when it gets blurry or you see 2 of them.
No.
Okay. I got within 1 inch of his nose. That tells me that he's fine. Anything above 2, or like if he was at 5 centimeters and it was getting blurry, or he was seeing double, that could be a potential problem. The next one we could do is the H test, which is going to test our 3, 4, and 6. So look at my finger, follow it. And what I'm looking for is smooth eye movement, no jumping, no double vision. Perfect. All right. So that takes care of the eyes for what I believe is the most part. Next would be the trigeminal, which would be cranial nerve 5. So there's 2 parts to that. There's sensory and there's motor. For the motor, I'm going to have him clench his jaw together like he's trying to break something apart in his teeth. Okay, and you would just feel the activation. So release and tighten. Good. Then you want, for sensation, you would want to test the 3 branches in a random order. So close your eyes. Tell me when you feel it and where do you feel it.
Top middle, bottom right, top left.
All right. So we are now on to cranial nerve 7, which we can test through facial expressions. So make your mean face, get your war face on. Okay. Smile, stick your tongue out. Forget that one. We'll save that one for later, actually. Make a sad face, puff your cheeks out. All right, cool. We can also test this through taste, I believe, on the front part of the tongue. So we put something like something that's mint or any kind of taste to see if you can taste it on the front side of his tongue. Going to the next one would be cranial nerve 8, which is our vestibular cochlear, which is also a 2-part. So you want to test the vestibular part and the cochlear part. So I would have the patient just sit up nice and straight. I would come behind him with any kind of sound, maybe even like a tuning fork. And I would have him close his eyes, and I would tell him to tell me when he hears something and which side he hears it on. So close your eyes and
Right. Left. Left.
good. The next one would be our VRO, which is going to test our vestibular portion. So what I'm going to have you do, stick your thumb straight out in front of you. Look straight at your thumbnail. Keeping your eyes on this thumbnail, move your head back and forth like you're saying no. Now speed it up. Yep, a little bit faster. All right, good. And what we want to do here is just to make sure that his eyes are staying locked. They're not drifting, they're not bouncing around, and he's not getting dizzy or blurry vision, or things of that nature. So we're on to cranial nerve 9, which would test palate levels and uvula movement. So I got my flashlight again. I would have him open his mouth and just say ah. All right, and I'm just looking at his palate and his uvula to see if there's nice even movement all the way across, that it's staying up. Going to cranial nerve 10, or vagus nerve, we can test that by changing our pitches. So say ah, all right. And that all looked normal. And so finally, we would go to cranial nerve 11, which is spinal accessory, and we would test a lot like our screening. We would test shoulder elevation via manual muscle test or myotome or the SCM in the same manner. And then finally, we would test the hypoglossal nerve, cranial nerve 12. And there's 2 ways to do that. It's another taste one, which is on the posterior third of the mouth, using the same kind of taste, like a peppermint or something. You can also use a gag reflex, but I wouldn't prefer it. And I don't think most of our patients would. And you can also do the tongue test, which is what I accidentally did for the facial nerve, which is why I said we'll save that for later. So stick your tongue out for me. If there was ever a deviation, that would give me an idea of where in this cranial nerve there could possibly be a lesion. So that is your cranial nerve testing. Hope you liked it.